Yo, what's up everybody, it's Victon here with a build showcase and mini guide for a budget and new player friendly Raider Trapper. This character is incredibly tanky with layers upon layers of defense stacked up, making it to where you even barely ever take damage, and the off chance that you do, it's almost always instantly regen back to full. I also want it to be a very fast mapper, so tons of move speed to where you can clear maps very fast and churn out a ton of currency from any currency making Atlas strategy. Basically, this character is a mega tank with a ton of move speed. While it doesn't have the greatest single target for in-game tough bosses, has more than enough damage to clear juice tier 16 maps and ultimatums, all the while being budget and new player friendly. That budget being a budget from as low as 3 exalts up to a absolute maximum of 10 exalts, and that'll get you clearing in-game maps to help you build your overall currency up and up until you can afford any high-end build of your choice. I got the idea for the base of the build from Tanky, so I'm going to be linking his channel below. I made a few extra changes to the build since his was more for solo self-found, and we of course can purchase a few bits and bobs here and there. I know that there's tons of builds out there with crazy DPS and survivability, and you're basically gods, but they all cost a ton of currency. I think the next couple of my builds will actually focus more on budget and new player friendly builds that, like I said, people can use to still make some great currency but not break the bank in the process. I personally ended up spending a total of 9 exalts to round out my build, and I'm comfortably clearing 100% plus quantity tier 16 juice maps with King Harbingers as my main currency making strategy. Now, I have done juiced up Guardian map bosses like Minotaur, Hydra, but the kills are a bit slower than I'm used to, so I probably wouldn't recommend doing as much boss farming on this build. It's definitely going to be slower. It's really just designed to be a super fast, cheap, tanky in-game mapper. Anyways, before we get too far into the build here, this guide's going to be a little bit different than the rest of my guides. Like you could see in the title, it's going to be more of a mini guide. I'm of course going to still get you guys everything you need to know to make this build if you want to, but it won't be as in-depth as some of my others because I first want to get an idea from you guys if y'all are interested in these sub 10 exalt budget builds, or if you'd prefer me to stick to the mid to higher end build guides. You guys let me know in the comments, and if there's a good bit of interest, I'll do a longer, more formal guide for this and a couple other budget builds that I have ideas for. Until then though, I think we'll just keep some gameplay footage rolling while we chat about the gear and gem links, and then briefly hop on over to Path of Building, where I'm going to show you guys the skill tree and the ascendancy points. And before we get into it, if you end up enjoying this guide, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already for tons of more Path of Exile content. Also check out the links below where you can find out how to support the channel, whether that be Patreon or my Twitch stream. Alright, here we are in game, and basically what I think we're going to do is just kind of very briefly go over all the gear pieces that I have here. You guys can kind of get an idea of the reason I'm using these pieces. I'll talk about it a little bit, but like I said, I'll probably do a formal guide if you guys want. I'm just not sure kind of the interest in these lower builds compared to what I normally do, which is like the mid-tier and high-end builds. So you guys just definitely let me know, but like I said, I'm still going to get you guys everything that you need to know to actually build this. So we'll go over that. We'll also go over the gem links, then we're going to go over the passive skill tree after that, and I do think that I'm going to go ahead and show you guys a map so you can kind of see the play style as well, me playing through it and kind of talking about it as I play. So we'll go ahead and do that. So I'm just going to kind of mouse over these. You got a basic wand here. I think I spent 2.5 exalts on this wand. You could get a much cheaper one. I saw a whole bunch of great ones for about an X. For the helmet here, this is a pretty interesting helmet. We're getting this because it gives a ton of extra defenses. Basically, we're going to be enemies are unlucky when they're hitting us, and also we take no extra damage from critical strikes by using this magic ring as well in the left slot. So super good helmet. That +2 also helps out with lightning spire trap for a little bit extra damage. You don't have to get a +2. This is actually a perfectly rolled item, and I think I paid 80 chaos for this, but you can get these as low as like 4 chaos, 5 chaos, 10 chaos for even pretty decent rolls. For our amulet here, we spent about 15 chaos on this one. We really just went for life and as much crit multi as you could get on there, so not too bad on this one. And you can actually anoint corrupted items now, or I'm sorry, talismans. So you can do that with a tainted oil. I think those cost, I think I bought mine for 20 chaos, 22 chaos, somewhere in there. And then I allocated unstable munitions as my anoint. For our shield here, we have Mist Wall, which is super good for defenses. Basically just a whole nother, what, I think 2 more layers of defenses. Very good. Also 16% move speed, super good. This costs about 5 chaos, so really cheap for that item. Like I said, I already showed you guys this one. It's basically any magic ring with as much life and resistances as possible. I purchased this for 50 chaos, or you could craft it yourself no problem using alterations and augments. It could probably cost you like 10 chaos, 15 chaos to get a pretty good magic ring. For our second one, we have just as life and as much resistances as possible with a little bit of strength as well. You could probably even do like the strength and intelligence roll on there, and that would probably be the best for the craft because we are a little bit short on strength and intelligence. For our chest, we do have a Tinker skin here, has a little bit of life on there, not too bad. The biggest thing that is affecting us is the recover life and energy shield whenever your trap is triggered, and we're throwing so many traps out that if we ever even take damage, which we basically never do anyway, it's like instantly regen back to full because we're recovering all of that life and energy shield by our traps being triggered. So a super good defensive item. Very good. A little bit of cooldown recovery for throwing traps as well. The other two lines there don't help since we are permanently phasing through Raider. Super good. This is actually about 2 exalts, 2.5 exalts, somewhere in there for a 6 link, and you can actually get this early on in Leagues 2 for pretty cheap as well. So very solid item. An upgrade there, maybe not upgrade, but another choice could be a Kintsugi armor for a lot more defenses. Very good choice there. It's about 5 exalts, somewhere between 5 and 6, so another good option. Moving on to our hands here, our gloves, we have the Slave Driver's hands. These are super good. The biggest line here, of course, being skills. There's 2 ones. Skills which throw traps cost life instead of mana. That's giving us an extra gem slot on our links because normally people do use life tap or the old blood magic with traps because traps cost so much mana. So being able to do that and have an extra gem slot gives us a whole bunch more damage. And also increases in reduction to cast speed also apply to throwing traps. So we're able to throw traps super fast, which is really nice. Makes the build feel pretty good. Also 10% chance to gain endurance, frenzy, and power charge. So basically our charges are 100% up and they are always at 3, which is what we have max on. And then our frenzy charges, we have 5 of those, so always going to be full on charges, so pretty nice for that. For our belt, we just have life and resistances, nothing crazy here. Same thing with our jewel, threw in a little bit of damage as well, but it is pretty important to get life and elemental resistances on at least one of our jewels because like I said, we are short on resistances because we have so many unique items. I think I spent, what, 20 chaos on this belt? Everything that I purchased was probably around the 10 to 20 chaos, so really cheap. The boots here, these are super cheap. I bought an almost perfect rolled one for, I think I paid 20 chaos for these. You can get super cheap ones too. You can pay like 4 chaos, 5 chaos, and just not get a max rolled one and be totally fine. These are available in the beginning of leagues as well for super cheap, so a super good item. The biggest thing there being 16% chance to dodge spell hits. So getting our dodge and spell dodge up as high as possible is very good for this build. Just another layer of defense that makes us super tanky. For our flasks, we do have a quartz flask, which is giving us another 10% chance to dodge attack and spell dodge. That brings us up to 70 and 71% chance to dodge attacks and spells. So very high. And on there I had poison. You can kind of do whatever you want for this slot right here. For our Jade Flask, we do have one with increased evasion on it as well. That is pretty important. I think I purchased this for about 10 chaos. You can get one with a little bit less rolls on it, and you can pay like, 2 chaos, 4 chaos, something like that, pretty cheap. You can probably even roll it yourself just with alterations. For our Quicksilver Flask, we went one with curses or curse immunity on there, and the duration is pretty nice too. You can remember, you guys can do this in the menagerie. So with beast crafting, you can actually go in and craft the flasks to have like curse removal, to have like this one I have bleed removal, and it's of staunching is what you would type into your menagerie in the beast crafting station in order to craft this. Or for this one, it's of warding. So pretty good option there. So like I said, that diamond flask, we have bleed immunity on this one. And then for our life flask, we have blood of the crew, which is a ton of life, and you get it pretty quick, over 2.5 seconds. So pretty good life flask there. So for our gem links here, we have summon skitterbots, which is one of our auras, just a whole bunch of extra damage. It also chills enemies, which is pretty nice, which is also affecting our hypothermia. That's how we're able to use that. We have Assassin's Mark, which is going to be mainly for bosses, but a whole bunch of extra damage for bosses there. We have either Wrath or you have Hatred. So this is one thing that is pretty good about this build. You can use any of the traps. I am currently using Lightning Trap. I think it's the best middle ground trap that there is. You can use Arc Traps, which is fantastic for AoE clearing and like super speed farming maps, but it's not the best for boss killing. When I say boss killing, I'm not even talking about like Cyrus and stuff like that. I'm even just talking about, a juice tier 16 map or something like a Minotaur or a Hydra, something like that. It's going to be pretty rough So going with lightning trap helps you out with there, but it also gives you pretty decent clear speed. I would say though, if you're doing like, you know, legion farming, or if you're doing breaches, I would say that the arc traps are going to be the best. And then lightning trap if you're kind of just doing a whole bunch of all the things. And then ice trap if you really want a little bit better single target when you're doing those high-end maps. But my personal favorite so far has been lightning traps, and then arc traps, and then ice traps after that. Perfect. So that is for the traps there. And like I said, Wrath is if you're doing a lightning one, and Hatred is if you're doing the ice trap. Moving on to our helmet here, we have Lightning Spire, which is going to be some extra boss damage. It is another trap, so we're going to be throwing those traps. It actually has cooldowns as well, so you can only throw 3 at a time, and then it regens the cooldown. So you pop 3 of those out, and then you throw like your normal trap. So we have Lightning Trap there, or Lightning Spire trap. We have Trap and Mine, Elemental Focus, and Lightning Pen. We do put that in our helmet because of the +2 to level of socketed gems, or +1, whichever one you have. Moving on here, we have Cast when damage taken, Anomalous Steel Skin. You don't have to use Anomalous, it just gives you a little bit extra buff from the damage that you can absorb. You can use a normal one, no problem. We have a Portal Gem in there. And then for our skills here, we have, where is it? Lightning Trap, Hypothermia, Lightning Pen, Cluster Traps, Controlled Destruction, and Trap and Mine. I think what I'm going to do is put in the video description below if you guys are interested in a different trap. So for example, the Arc Trap, the Ice Trap, I'm going to put the 6-link option for those in the video description, so check that out if you're interested. Over here we have Dread Banner, Generosity. So I got this idea from Tanky, which is pretty cool. It's just nearby enemies have less accuracy. Again, we're stacking as many defensive layers as possible, which is also buffed by Generosity. So this is a lot less accuracy that enemies have towards you. So pretty nice defenses. We have Bear Trap and Advanced Traps. The reason we're using Bear Trap is for extra damage, so mainly on bosses. So enemies take 25% increased damage from traps. So 25% more damage. So basically you're going to throw down a Bear Trap. I guess you would first Assassin's Mark, throw down a Bear Trap. This is if it's a boss, and then you would throw down some Lightning Spires, and then you just start blasting them with your main trap. That's kind of the, you know, how you would do the rotation there. Perfect. So that was that one. Let's go ahead and move to the last one here. We have Arcane Surge, Second Wind, and Dash. So the dash here is being your main movement skill. We do have, if you only want, like I said, I have a Wrath and a Hatred because I've been trying to figure out which one I want. But once you do kind of figure out which skill that you want, obviously you don't want both of these in here. What you could do is probably remove, like I said, I would remove this Hatred right now actually, and I put in a Smoke Bomb. Or Smoke Trap, whatever the heck that thing is called, but you put that in there and it just gives you even more move speed. It's super solid. So I put that in there, and then the dash is actually triggering Arcane Surge as well for a little bit extra, you know, defense. I'm not defense, a little bit extra cast speed, some spell damage. So not too bad. We're only going with a level 6 one though. Do not go above level 6, or your dash will not be able to trigger it. Just FYI. So that is our gem links. Let's go ahead and hop into our skill tree. We are of course going Raider, and what we are doing here is going with Rapid Assault is our first one. Just gives you Onslaught permanently, which is 20% increased attack, cast, and move speed, so we're moving really fast, and that's a super good one for your first lab. Really helps out with clearing the campaign a lot faster because you're getting so much move speed, and also up to that 50% increase effect. So it's technically 30% attack speed, cast speed, and movement speed. Very good. Your second one is Avatar of the Chase, so even more onslaught effect, and also 35% more chance to evade attacks and projectiles, which is very good. Again, more defenses. Quartz Infusion, we are permanently having phasing. Very good. So phasing basically makes you lets you move through monsters without having to kind of be body blocked by them. So super good at ultimatums, actually. Really good at ultimatums. A little bit extra chance to dodge attack and spell hits. Pretty good there. And then our last points for our Uber Lab is Avatar of the Veil. We are immune to elemental ailments while phasing, which is all the time. And then also nearby enemies have Fire, Cold, and Lightning Exposure while you have phasing, which is all the time, applying 20% to those resistances, minus 20%, so super good for damage. And nearby enemies have, again, some more reduced accuracy rating while you have phasing, so let's go over the defenses here. They have reduced accuracy on you, right? You also have your helmet with they are unlucky when hitting you, and you take no damage from critical strikes. On top of that, we have, let's pop our Flasks here. We have 61% chance to evade flat, And then we have 70% chance to dodge attacks and 71% chance to dodge spell hits. And on top of that, we also have this, which is 35% more chance. And down here we have Wind Dancer, which is our big node on the tree, which is even more defenses. It's just crazy the amount of defenses that we have in this build. As far as passive nodes here, we do have, like I said, the Wind Dancer is one of our bigger nodes. We are of course going with Acrobatics and Phase Acrobatics for a chance to dodge. We're really just getting as much life as possible scattered in with some trap stuff, like we have some trap here, here and here, and then just a whole bunch of life along the way. For our large cluster jewel, don't go with one with fire. I actually messed up on that. I thought it said elemental. That was a mistake. You either want elemental, cold, or lightning, whichever spell you're using. I probably suggest just going with the elemental one. The best ones that you could get here are Prismatic Heart, which is again going to help you with a little bit of elemental resistances, some elemental damage, and then Disorienting Display, which is fantastic. It's, guess what, another layer of defense. You're basically going to have permanent blind around you on all the enemies, which gives them less attack speed. So super good. Just so many layers of defense with this build. I literally almost never get hit. But if I do get hit, we have a couple layers of defenses there too. One of them being these two small cluster jewels. I've been really enjoying the Surging Vitality. So what this thing does is every 4 seconds regenerates 10% of your life over 1 second. So I have 2 of those, so every 4 seconds we get 20% of our life back over 1 second, which is very fast, so it's just a lot of extra regen. And of course it comes with a little bit of life along the way, and I do choose to go with ones that have some life on it as well, like that 13 life. Pretty cheap to buy these. This one I messed up and bought fire, but I think I purchased it for like 10 chaos and I just rolled it myself with alterations, so super cheap. And I also rolled these myself. These you can get super cheap, like 5 chaos for probably the 2 passive is better. I'm only level 90 as well, by the way, because you can see that I don't have some of these. I'll link the POB in the description, and that'll actually have a full build for you guys to see what it would look like at a level 95 character, which I think is probably a good point to have for you guys as a level 95 character, not necessarily a level 100 character. So check out the POB, which of course will be linked in the description below. So that is that right there. Let's go ahead and hop into a map. And actually before a map, I'll show you the regen. So let's throw some traps because it does take life, right? So I'm going to stop throwing. Oh, I couldn't even do it. It already regen the health. There you go. That's a perfect example. Let's go ahead and hop into a park here with some breach. Let's throw on some sextants real quick. Let's not do that because we have that, but I'm not going to show you guys that. Let's just go ahead and hop into a map here. Breach. Perfect. So I'm going to show you guys kind of how I play this build. Like I said, I do think you should probably remove that and put in Smoke Bomb. I don't think I have a Smoke Bomb, or else I would do that. If you do put in Smoke Bomb, make sure you put the like triggering it right here, like the detonate on your left click, so it auto casts. I would definitely do that. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and hop into a map here. And so look at this, look how fast I'm moving, guys. And that's without any flasks popped. That's just me moving around like a crazy person. All right, let's get going. We got a breach here. So like I said, I think arc traps are probably going to be the best for breaches, for legion farming. Excuse me. Because you clear so fast with those abilities, especially arcs. It's just crazy. I think this is a good middle ground because you have all these little lightning projectiles going all over the place. Pretty solid, but as you can tell, I'm literally walking in the middle of all these guys. This is a tier 16 map. I think it had what, 70% quantity, so nothing crazy, but it's definitely an all can go type situation. And we're just walking through all the monsters here, not even taking damage. Easy peasy. And if we do take, let's try and take a little bit of damage. Come on, I want to die. Okay, so watch, and then I'm gonna throw some traps. Look at that, instantly back to full just with those traps triggering. One thing that we can, here, I'll actually stand in this. So you do take damage from damage over time. Damage over time does hurt, and we don't have the best chaos resist in this build as well. So chaos damage, so like choking miasma on the ultimatums does hurt quite a bit. The physical degen hurts quite a bit, stuff like that, so stay out of that, but pretty much everything else. Ooh, we got a boss here. Let's see if we can kill it. Why are you running away, you wiener? You wiener, come back. So as you can tell, I mean, the single target isn't the best, but I mean, I'm killing him. No problem, right? Moving on. Let's go maybe see if we can find the boss, and then we can get out of here. And I'll kind of give you guys my final thoughts on the build. Actually, let's do an ultimatum. That's perfect. One good thing about this build, like I said, you can do any map mod. You can basically do any of these as well. I think choking miasma is probably the only one that you really want to stay around or stay away from. But everything else is perfectly fine. I basically just run around in circles and throw my traps down every couple feet. Keep my flasks up. I'm basically playing piano with my flasks. They are a ton of defenses for you. So make sure they're pretty much always up. But I'm literally just running. I could even walk in the middle there because I have phasing, right? It doesn't even hurt me at all. So not too bad. And then I kind of just sit there and I throw that. Sometimes I throw some like some spire traps in the middle. So you go. You can see I kind of got hit there. Instantly regen to full. No problem. No problem. How cool would it be if we got a trial master on the video? I actually haven't. I've had one trial master. How many trial masters you guys had? That thing is so freaking rare. I've had literally one trial master, and I think it was bugged when I did it too. Like he didn't even give me any loot. Felt bad. Felt real bad. Another good one is actually limited area is not too bad. Don't do choking miasma. Limited area is not too bad. It just makes it to where you're killing things a lot faster. But I mean, the playstyle is fantastic. I like the playstyle a lot. I mean, this is a cheap build. You know, you're throwing 8x, and that's for probably near perfect items for this build. Like I said, I spent 9x on my build, and I have basically all perfect items. And my wand was 3x, so you guys could get a 1x wand, and there you go, you're down to 7x for the total build cost now. I mean, we're clearing tier 16 maps like it's nothing. We're doing the kings for like harbingers as our main strat to make currency, and it's super good for that. Super good for that. I think actually ice trap might be the best for harbinger farming. It's just enough, like the AoE is just enough to where the ice trap covers the entire harbinger area, and it deals pretty good single target for those encounters, so not too bad. Or you could do any of the others. It kind of comes down to personal preference, which I think is pretty cool. Whichever trap that you prefer, you can use, and it works just fine. What are we at? 5 here. Restless ground is not too bad because we move super fast. We can also kind of just dash around. Easy peasy. Easy peasy. Oh, get back into the ring. But yeah, you guys let me know. I know a lot of people don't necessarily play traps. I think it's probably an underplayed kind of class type. I never used to play. I used to play them way long ago, like literally like 4 or 5 years ago when fire trap was big, but have not really since then. But I've been enjoying this quite a bit. I think, you know, I wonder why a lot of people don't. I definitely think the mana cost of traps definitely puts people off, especially like when you're leveling up, especially newer players, right? When they're just like, oh, cool, let's try some traps out, right? And then they go play them, and the mana cost is absurd, and they're like, nah, why would I want to do that? I can't even cast anything. I think these gloves that we're wearing really help with that. Really help with that, just by making that take life instead of mana. So then we're able to reserve our full mana. As you can see there, I only have 43 mana, just enough basically to throw our traps down for like you know, bear trap, for the spire trap. I'm sorry, for assassin's mark and dash, not our traps. Our traps are on life. And there it is, perfect. Easy peasy. And I wasn't really focusing, I was kind of trying to talk there, so probably could have done a little bit faster. Perfect. But that really is the build, guys. Super cheap, super easy, very easy to play. I definitely think it is newer player friendly, no problem, because it's basically a one button click build. You're just kind of throwing your traps. 8x is not too bad at all. It gets you into the in-game maps. Like I said, this is a tier 16 map here, about 70-75% quantity. Get you farming those in-game Atlas strategies so that you can amass some more currency. So you can play maybe one of those higher end builds and have a lot more fun doing that. But I had a lot of fun playing this build myself in general. I think it's a super strong league starter, and I actually might try it as a league starter in 1 or 2 of these next leagues. But that's all I got for this one, guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If y'all did, definitely hit that like button and subscribe to the channel if you have not already. Let me know in the comments if you guys are interested in some more formal build guides for budget guides. I definitely think what I would consider is budget is anything under 10x. It is what I would consider a budget build, and I probably would try and do it for like 6 to 10x would be like all of the build guides that I think I would try and make for those budget builds, which are more new player friendly, which are, you know, for the more casual player. So if y'all are interested in that, let me know. If y'all are more interested in the mid to high end builds, like the Golemancers, like the Summoners, like the Specters, I mean, that's a pretty expensive build, you know, 40-50 exalts. I know a lot of people can't afford that, so I'm just curious what you guys think. Y'all let me know in the comments. I definitely appreciate you guys sticking through, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks everybody, and I will see y'all in the next one.